Officers are viewed as a figure of protection and hope, but over time, some people started to connect them with anger and pain, which is why the Rockford Police Department created the Citizens Police Academy more than 10 years ago.
23 News reporter Kaylee Randall takes part in the Citizens Academy to get an inside look on how every department in law enforcement is trained and how those who completed the program felt the classes changed their perceptions.
The police are supposed to help the situation, not make it worse.
Family members and eyewitnesses speak out after a Rockford police officer shoots a man to death.
A man is arrested and there are no longer protester tents located outside Rockford City Hall. Bell's friends and family say he died Monday morning following a traffic stop with Illinois State Police in Rockford.
They wouldn't do that to every person, like what they would have just done to like a certain person.
I approached police officers with complete trust and honor, really. I believe that they take an oath and that they're there to serve.
I wouldn't say I trust them fully, but I mean, I have a decent 50-50 trust with them.
The badge officers proudly wear on their uniforms is meant to symbolize honor, protection, and safety. But for some Americans, it evokes feelings of fear or hate. In a 2022 study by Gallup, only 45% of Americans have faith in the police. That's a 6% decrease from the previous year.
I've had some cool experiences with police, like them really trying to help, but I've also had some troubling experiences. But I feel like the trust level it depends on the situation.
Get it mistreated like incorrectly, and that wouldn't be okay for like any person.
Gallup researchers dug a bit deeper, claiming 70% of non-white Americans express low confidence in law enforcement, compared to 47% of white Americans. And between 2010 and 2019, trust in law enforcement among Black Americans slowly declined.
There may be a reason for that drop. According to Gallup, a number of nationally tragic events over the last couple of years could be catalysts. May 25th, 2020, Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd dies when 3 police officers pinned him to the ground. One put a knee to Floyd's neck. August 4th, 2020, Louisville, Kentucky. Breonna Taylor is shot and killed by an officer who fired blindly into her home during a police raid. January 7th, 2023, Memphis, Tennessee. Tyree Nichols was pulled over and beaten by police for several minutes. He died from his injuries 3 days later.
Some of the stories I've heard and some of the things that those guys go through, it's a tough job, and you know, they don't get a lot of love, you might say.
But some Americans say that depends on the color of your skin. In a study by the Washington Post, only 41% of Americans believe police treat Black and white people equally, and only 39% of Americans believe police officers are adequately trained to avoid the use of excessive force. Denzel Winter and Rick Allman live in Rockford, and both had negative attitudes towards the police until they enrolled in the Citizens Police Academy.
Once I took the class, it helped me to understand their side of the story too. Like it's always been said, there's always 2 sides to a story. So
I can guarantee you 9 out of 10 people in this town do not have an idea what the police department do. After going through this class, a whole new attitude towards the police, total respect, and I appreciate everything that they do.
The Academy is a free 8-week course for any resident 18 years or older. They go on a deep dive into each area of the Rockford Police Department and learn how officers, dispatchers, and canines are trained.
There's physiological responses that occur when an officer is under stress and they have to use force. And there's also some things that are built into every human being in response to incidents like that.
Officers in Rockford respond to 14 calls every hour, 270 calls a day, according to city data. Less than 1% of those involve use of force, and yet those incidents often get the most attention. Leaders say officers in those situations only have half a second to react.
He raises that gun, boom, and by the time my brain registers what happened, my finger's rocking and rolling.
When a 911 call comes in, it is top priority for everybody. So our call takers are hopping off a non-emergency and picking up those lines. Our dispatchers who aren't on phones are picking up lines.
In the dispatch center, students learn about the 911 system. Dispatchers encourage callers to include descriptions of the scene and suspects, all vital information to police. On average, only 2 911 dispatchers will work one 12-hour shift. So every call is organized by priority level.
We go from answering, it may be a very easy parking complaint call to now you're giving directions on how to give CPR, or you're giving directions on how to birth a child.
Academy students also learn how law enforcement tackles different situations like high-risk calls, arson, and mental health issues.
There's been a growing trend in law enforcement to incorporate mental health response along with police response.
The Crisis Co-Response Team, or CCRT, works in partnership with the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office and Rosecrans. The team's goal is to engage with individuals who suffer from mental health or substance abuse issues, connect them with treatment, and guide them towards helpful resources. Between June 2021 and 2022, CCRT responded to and followed up on more than 2,400 cases. More than 1,700 of them were first-time calls.
You know, I think it's very beneficial what crime scene is today, so they understand the importance of evidence and how we preserve evidence and why not touch things if there is a crime scene that has taken place.
I think a lot of people see the bad side rather than looking at the good side, because they don't always see the whole story when it's on the news. They only see part of it.
Working for you in Rockford, Kaylee Randall, 23 News.
The next chance we have to attend the Rockford Citizens Police Academy is the spring of 2024.
The Rockford Police Department also offers ride-alongs through an application on its website for anyone who would like a day in the life of a police officer.